with us now Leslie Raymond. She is the director for the Ann Arbor Film Festival. Great to have you with us here on the MegaCast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Film festivals are such a big part of the industry, of those that are creative individuals. They rely on these film festivals, but 2020 was a bit of a year, right? So tell us about the long-term impact of COVID-19 on the film festival there in Ann Arbor.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for asking. We were actually all set in 2020, late March, to go ahead and have our film festival in the Michigan Theater. And then, just about 10 days before, when the governor was like, oh, we need to place some restrictions, we decided we were not going to have that. We couldn't have that, and that we would actually take it online. And we were.
But Leslie, I have to ask you, because this was a year ago, and I remember when the news was first starting to trickle out, and I was thinking, oh, no way, no way, no way. And I think one of the first things to get canceled locally, a big event, was like a Pistons game, and I was like, what? But you had to pivot very quickly. You didn't have months. This is days. How were you able to do that?
Yeah, we had 10 days. And our secret weapon is our incredible tech director, who's actually a University of Michigan Converging Technologies consultant, who, as part of his position there, it's built in there somehow that he gets to, on their dime, support us in our tech needs. So because of that, and because of our board chair at the time, who was had a lot of experience in the online streaming space with Internet 2, they ascertained, thought it through, and said there's no reason why we can't do it online. So here we go. And we ended up, like I said, in 10 days time, changing everything. We took the square peg and put it into the round hole. And there were some changes we made. We offered it for free, for example. We put it out on our Vimeo page, offered it for free, had live Q&A. What we found out, in knowing that I should back up a little, because we're a little bit of an unusual film festival, because we sort of straddle the two worlds of film and fine art. And most of the work that we show comes from artists as opposed to people working in the film industry. And so, when we went ahead and put it online, we made it free. We wanted to take the barrier of entry down. We've known that as a 59-year-old experimental film festival, we put the city of Ann Arbor on the map all over the world. And then what we saw happen was 16,000 unique IP addresses visited the film festival during that 6-day period from 104 countries. So it was very eye-opening. And it gave us the confidence in, obviously we didn't know it at first, but now we made the decision this summer when we did our call for entries. We decided that we were going to plan for it online again. So here we are, coming up to the March 23rd to the 28th week, where we'll hold our 6-day online event.
So the beautiful thing is that you were able to expand your platform. However, we are now a year into this pandemic. What about content for your upcoming festival?
That's a great question. For us, we did see a dip in submissions. We normally get about 3,000 submissions, and this year we got about 2,300. It could be that people are maybe financially challenged. It could be that people are having trouble producing, but our submission period is July 1st to September 31st, I think. Yeah, for 3 months, July, August, September. And I think I've heard that, other festivals saw a dip, many festivals saw a dip as well. But out of the work that came in, we had no trouble putting a program together. We, out of those 2,300 films, we have in competition 11 features and about 110 or so short films in competition. they'll be divided into 15 shorts and competition programs. The 11 features programs, as I mentioned. We also show the work of the jurors, so we'll have 3 jurors programs as well, and then a few special programs, 4 or 5 special programs along with that.
So Leslie, for us that maybe aren't as knowledgeable in the film festival arena, how does this work? Are these short films? Are they long films? Big productions, little productions? Give us a backstory here.
Sure, yeah. One thing I like to do to also help orient people to what we are as an experimental and avant-garde film festival is just to kind of set the stage for that. What I tell people is, don't think about like going to the Cineplex to see a movie there. It's more akin to going to the art museum and looking at a painting or a sculpture. That's the kind of attention that it kind of requires in a lot of cases, that it's a little bit more introspective. There are things the artists want you to see, but you have your own experience too. Or also another thing you can think of is it's not so much like reading a novel, it's more like reading a poem. So that's one important thing to kind of keep in mind, in remembering that we're a little bit different of a film festival. Now, the films range from anywhere from 1 minute to a feature film could be a couple hours long. We actually also have, interestingly, as a little bit of an outgrowth of the festival, we have some installations in storefront windows in downtown Ann Arbor, and one of the films that's showing there is actually a 24-hour long film by Jex Blackmore, and she's an artist from Detroit. And that's going to be viewable on the street starting this week, where you can walk up to the window at the Ann Arbor Art Center and watch it. And it's the kind of film that really it's designed where you can come in at any time and take it in and leave at any time. You don't have to watch the whole 24 hours.
Because I'm wondering about that. Even mainstream media, my husband, he thinks I'm so annoying when I do this, but I Wikipedia every movie that we're watching and I follow along. And he's like, why do you do that? And I'm like, well, sometimes it's like that backstory, right?
Lots to follow.
But when we're talking about this too, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, are most of these filmmakers full-time professionals, or are they trying to support their art in various different ways?
There's a range, I think, of the way that our filmmakers are able to earn a living. There are a few who are able, maybe they're advanced enough in their career and they're able to support themselves on their work. Many teach, or many work in the industry, where they, can, for example, work in special effects in Hollywood, and or maybe they're a graphic designer, so they kind of have a different, angle on where they're actually earning their paycheck that funds them to be able to make the work that they do.
Leslie Raymond with us here on the MegaCast. She is the director for the Ann Arbor Film Festival, which will be coming up just a few more minutes here with us. Leslie, talk to us too. At one point in time, it looked like Michigan was going to be the Hollywood of the Midwest. Didn't come to fruition because of politics. What has been that impact on the film arena here in the Midwest, do you think?
When I think about Michigan and Detroit as a kind of a center for filmmaking, I know that there are these film tax credits that were coming out of Lansing for a while, and I remember when they went away that there were people that I knew who had sort of retrained for a new career, and then they felt like, whoops, that's a problem now. But I have heard that those tax incentives may be coming back. So, but that in terms of our local situation here, I think that has impacted certain artists that I know who have been able to earn a living in that industry that would then fuel their artwork.
Yeah, and we one thing with the tax credits too, we have to remember there were so many other jobs, like catering business really did benefit. I know I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for years. Of course, Green Gym Studios was there. In fact, I tried to buy the Muppet House It was across the street from me at one point in time. I was looking at buying it, but we were in a historical district, and I remember doing an interview with Frank Capra Jr., by the way, sweetest guy, because I'm a little one-man band, doing this.
Right.
And I said, hey, the Muppet House across the street, I'm looking at buying it. And he was like, well, if you buy it, I'll get you a signed autographed picture of all the Muppets to put in the house. But then we had to have a tin roof, and it was just so costly. It was crazy, the cost of getting a roof for that house. But
Henson, who started the Muppets and all that, he was actually an experimental filmmaker.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, FYI.
So just another minute here with you. What do you think is the future of the film festivals here in the Midwest?
That's an interesting question.
Are we a petri ground for great filmmakers here?
I can speak about Ann Arbor a little bit. We here in Ann Arbor, there's not so much a culture of filmmaking as there is of people who are very enthusiastic to go see films, people who study film. And one of the great things about that and being an experimental film festival here is that there are people who are just naturally curious and looking for the alternative. So they want to come and see the Ann Arbor Film Festival. Next year is going to be our 60th, and I have, I'm confident there's a good chance we'll be back in the theater and be able to really celebrate that, and I think that we'll come back strong. That's us personally. I can't really speak for anybody else. Aside from the Michigan Theater, that there's a lot of love for that theater, the Michigan and State here in town. I think the community, will ensure that they are here as we move forward. And, I do want to also just mention that this Wednesday at 7:30, we're going to have a little sneak preview online. If you're curious about the Ann Arbor Film Festival, want to check it out, you can, everybody's welcome to find our sneak preview online this Wednesday at 7:30. It'll be a Zoom kind of call, and you can find out more information about that on our website, aafilmfest.org.
Well, that's a great place to leave you. We so appreciate your time. Leslie Raymond with us here on the MegaCast. She's the director for the Ann Arbor Film Festival. Please take time to check them out. We so appreciate it. Thank you for being with us here on the MegaCast.
Thanks for having me.